I was talking. I remember sitting in that booth over there. I sat there like for about 40 minutes, and everyone was just coming over and talking and like trying to have this good vibe. Tech here had some plans and threw me up on stage.
Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion. We don't have a raptor today, but
Hello, my name is Daddy Raptor, and I definitely fit everywhere. No, I'm kidding. Hi, my name's Atrix. Hello, I'm here again. I am replacement co-host. I am annoying.
and we are here joined by wonderful guests.
I'm Cheese and Mac. I'm one of the owners of the Sundrop.
Hello, I'm Cryptics Cypher. I help out with the Sundrop.
Well, thank you both very much for coming on. I remember when I met you at Sundrop a long time ago, back when Sullivan was around. How have you been since?
So that was way back when, the long ago days, which actually is a running joke in our group now. It was called the Golden Grain, and that was run by Sullivan, who had grand ideas of what he wanted to do here at the bar. Because when I first bumped into him, he gave me this whole spiel of how you need a manager for a bar. Because he's got a good idea. He wants to have a lot of performers come through and run this like more high-end experience where only like the elite get to come through the bar. But that ended up not really working out too well, for multiple different reasons, as he was spreading himself a little too thin. Some other stuff fell apart, and the Golden Grain did end up failing as a project. But during all of that, I was enjoying being here at the bar, working alongside with Lingie and Rennie, helping them like with the world and stuff. And I got Cryptic here, and I said, hey, why don't we go and start our own bar? And we eventually got the name Parmesan Palace. And since then, we've been, roaming around the bars here, having good times. We bump into a lot of interesting characters and have gotten. I don't even know how to really describe our whole friend group and community, but we have a whole variety of people. Chaotic, a little bit of trolling. I mean, that happens in Publix, but in the mix of all that, we've found this nice little thing where I get these people who come in who are new, and they don't really know what's out there in VRChat. So I talk to them here at the bar, funny enough, pouring drinks for them, and then I'll be like, hey, you like music, you like art, you like all this stuff. So I push them in directions to go towards like Savvy's Next Up for the karaoke, or I'd have them go to Strange Pair for their art stuff, and they'd always get blown away because, I mean, let's be fair. Much like myself, when I first got into this game, I was like, oh, Uganda Knuckles is funny, haha. I want to go on VR chat, and then I didn't know about all the other fun side of the things and how in depth this game was. So if you're seeing all the proximity chat videos and all those trolling videos on TikTok, and you come into this game, it's hard to see the deeper side of it where there's all these great things happening. I mean, how was Sundrop for you when I first abducted you from the Golden Grain? Like, what was your vibe of it?
I mean, like, it kind of like what Cheese had said. It was, I kind of came in under like Uganda Knuckles. I had a buddy that was like, let's go drinking in VR. I was like, that's weird, but okay, we can do that. And from then, I met one of your friends. They took us to the bar you were working that night, and I was just blown away with how, like, I'm like, oh, this is like a bar, like an actual bar. We're sitting in and we're talking. And one night I followed Cheese to an after party that was supposed to be staff only. And so I just kind of partied and hung out with them so I could see the different things that are part of VRChat that I was missing, because obviously these people play it. I'm like, what's going on here? And I've kind of been, under Cheese's wing since then. I was there at the Golden Grain. I got abducted there, and then the Parm, and then now the Sundrop. And so we just kind of, and Cheese has always taken me along on adventures to see how big VR is. And it's been a lot of fun since then. Way more than I anticipated when I first put on the headset, like what, a year ago? Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah, it's about a year and a half ago. So yeah, Because I mean,
Cool.
when we first started all this, we didn't expect any of this to go that far. We just thought we were going to be drinking and just having fun with random people, and
Hmm.
from there it's flourished into us. We were at Project this year, and we've been helping people get around. I got to meet you guys. I got to meet a bunch of I got to meet Corbell, and all these other big names of people, and I'm like, oh wow, this is so cool how all these people like have this life on VRChat, and it's so well, I don't know, expressed.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, when I saw Genghis VR, and they walked into our bar, I was like, I know you from Instagram. That's kind of weird, just the amount of ecosystem of people that's around here. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Cool. So I got a bit of a question for the both of you. What when you first hopped into VRChat, as both of you mentioned, you got a Knuckles and memes that got you here. What were you expecting your experience to be like versus what you experienced while running the Golden Grain, Parmesan, and the Sundrop? What was the difference between what you expected versus what you experienced?
So for me, when I first got in to like the bar scene and all this stuff, because I mean, again, it was Sullivan H who like approached me. It was actually at an after party for the Parasol, um, and I met Sullivan there. He approached me, it was and all this stuff, and he made it sound like it was gonna be this like golden shimmering like tables. Everyone's gonna come in and be this elite status. I was like kind of expecting something formal, but then the more I got to experience public instances, because I was unfortunately in that niche where you get those first like few friends in the public instance, and then you never go back to a public instance again. And then I was like, okay. So then I started running the bar groups, and I was like, I don't know what to expect. I'm probably gonna get so many trolls. Like this is just gonna be a bunch of people who are trying to be, make it a terrible experience. But then as I went on and on, I'm like, wow, I've got like people who are aspiring like musicians coming through. I got people who have like these amazing art skills, and they're like, yeah, I don't know what to do with it. And then like I do got people who are just trying to drink after their 9 to 5. They just want to have a good time, and some of them can't go out for some reason, or I mean, let's just face it, it's a lot cheaper to go on an adventure in VR chat than it is to go in real life.
Yep,
And
I agree.
yeah, and as I talk to people more and more, I'm like, oh, these are. I expect it to just be a game. Everyone's going to be like teasing and just joking, but I was like, these are real people. These are real stories. This is like so interesting because it's the same. I've ever since I started running the bar nights, I started to get this like feeling of like, hey, like sitting in a Discord call is cool and all, but like when I get in VR chat with my friends, I'm like, it's the same thing as me calling you up and say, hey, come over to my house tonight. Like we're just gonna like chill. We're gonna have a drink or two, and it's the same things. You see my hands moving, you see my face talking. Sometimes you see my legs moving and all that stuff. Same thing as real life. It's just we got a box strapped to our head. So, and that was such a cool experience for me to be able to like get to connect with all these people around the world, from it being my Australian friends to my European friends to my friends here in the States. And I never would have like seen myself where I am now, where I have a partner I met through VR chat. Thanks to this bar, she's actually the voice of the
The
uh
welcome.
yeah, the
Yeah,
welcome voice.
welcome to
Thank you.
Sunset. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
her.
welcome to Sunset. She helped Lingie and Rennie with that, and I first met her, and then things went well through VR chat here, and then I packed up my car. I moved from West Virginia all the way to Washington State to move in with her, and that's just changed my life and everything. And I
Wow.
truly credit this game to that. And like I got to move over here. I got a good job, my dream job, and I still have all my friends. Majority of them I've met. Like I've met Tech here before. I got on my way down to Texas before.
Hmm.
So it's changed my whole view of this game from what it was, because I thought it was just a trolling game. You get on, you be silly, you run around and you go on to Knuckles, or you run around to your favorite anime character and just troll a few people. But it's nothing like that. It's deeper than that. But I don't know, you have a similar view, or how do
Yeah,
you?
I'd say I'd say it's pretty similar in certain ways. Like for me, my story was that like I just moved states due to like a just a very unforeseen event that left me pretty much stranded. And some of my folks were saying, "Just come home." Uh, well, they had moved to Texas. That wasn't my home, so I moved over there. Didn't know anybody. Didn't know what to do. My buddy's like, "Hey, just like let's get on VRChat," you know. And I just gotten a Quest 3 headset, and I had like done it once or twice over the on a Uganda Knuckles like haha joke, you know, joke anime character run through somewhere in a public, and that's just it. I'm like, oh, this is just a chat room. So then I started getting on, and like I had said before, I followed some of your friends around that were introducing me to places, and they were all very nice. But what really changed it for me was being introduced to the bar scene, because I didn't realize how like complex of an ecosystem it was. It was very eye-opening to see like people doing bars and galleries and comedy shows, like, and that to me like blew my mind. So it like helped deepen that immersion. Then I started to get meeting people. And just like Chi said, sitting in a bar here is one way cheaper. And I used to be someone who would frequently go out, and I'd run up a tab at a bar just hanging out with friends. And so to still be able to connect with some of them through this game was great, but then meeting new ones also was fantastic. A lot of adventures. I'm big on like community management. Like I love doing like IRL activations, but I do a lot for work. So kind of doing that same thing here in the game was just like, even though it's more work, I like working, so it's just a ton of fun. And to what Cheese was saying, yeah, I actually have met almost a majority of like the closest friends of mine in VR IRL. We've all met up. And when I was telling Cheese, I always made this joke to him that the first people that I met off of VR, we only knew each other for about 3 months at that point. We barely knew each other, but we all met up at this convention because we were all kind of close by. At the convention, I go to sit down and we're all talking. I just close my eyes for a second and I can just picture all of us back at the bar, just like I see my buddy's Abby there, my other friend's avatar there, and it's like the exact same as we were in there. And it was that was like an unreal moment. But then also, and I've always told this to Cheese too, is I felt really close to these people because VRChat is just as a game. It's all about talking. It's all you really. I mean, there are games that you can play, but a majority of it is talking. And I felt like even though I only knew them for 3 months, I felt like I knew them for like at least a year at that point. I always made a joke that like in VRChat times, the time in here goes by 7, because if you miss a week of VRChat, it's like you've been gone for almost 2 months. People are like, where you been? And I'm like, I got busy this week. I'm sorry. Like, oh man, so much has happened. And I'm like, it's only been a week. But even the connections feel that much more stronger because of like what I call is like time dilation in VR. So yeah, it's been like an unreal experience.
Oh,
Yeah. So I gotta agree with that.
cool.
So,
I've got a bit of a question for you. How is the bar scene differ from the other club scenes like raves and then dance clubs and all this stuff? How is it the bar different? East and VR chat.
so this is completely this is my point of view on it. Other people may have other differing views, but when I've gone to raves, when I've gone to clubs and stuff like that, Club B being the exception, I'm talking like more of the like, private owned worlds and all that kind of stuff. Um, People there seem to be a little, and I don't think they're doing it intentionally, but they seem to be a little bit in a clique. And
100%.
it's like, oh, yeah, it's because they already all know each other and they're kind of in their group. It being here at the bar, it's usually a public instance. Yeah, you've got the people who are your regulars, but it's always a rotating door of like people coming in. And for the bar to be interesting, yeah, you have your music playing, but on top of that, you need to have something going on. So like the thing we always do here, and a lot of people wanted to come to us were yeah.
Or like
Which
the
was
games and stuff, the hosting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We would host games. Like we had everyone. I don't know, one of the games everyone used to love. I'd sit on stage with the mic, and I would connect my voice meter to my mic so I could play music through, and I would just cycle Spotify, just sliding randomly, and I'd play a song and the first person gets to guess that song gets to pass a drink to someone. And everyone got so like into that for some reason. And I was like, I was just trying to kill time at that
Mhm.
point because we were setting up in between something, and I was like, I just gotta kill like 30 minutes. And
Yeah,
everyone
if we
was
didn't
so
have
into
a we didn't
that.
have we didn't have a performer slot, so we started doing games, and that was like a
Yeah.
way to kill that time. But I will say, not to cut you, but uh the big thing about this is the more interaction with the rave scene. I've been to a few of them. I don't mind going to a rave and listening to music, but it's kind of like a real rave. Unless you're a very sociable person, it's very hard for you to join into a clique because most people already have formed. Like they're coming with 4 or 5 people. At a bar, everything's kind of open, and you're limited on your space. Where a rave is normally so spread out. And there's also, like I said, we for our bar like to have a personable bartender to give a character, and then also one of us hosting to help flow the event. So then, if somebody does kind of feel left out, at least there is a staff member or one of us that they may just be in the corner listening, but they can at least enjoy the people watching experience without loud music and kind of be in on a conversation, if not directly into it. So that's what I think, the main difference is.
That's I 100% agree with that because like when I was hosting, because Tech here would usually do security and stuff, I'd be the one running around on the inside. If I see someone like off on their own, I'd try to walk over and like interact with them. And I feel like you don't really get that at a whole lot of clubs or raves because most of the time people are just there to listen to the music. You're watching the DJ. That is the performance, and you're just talking to your friends in a circle and stuff like that. And at a bar, you're coming and you're just kind of looking for something to do if you want to people watch. And then our personable bartenders, myself, Tech sometimes, or any one of our staff members were really good about finding those like loners and talking to them, and then be like, oh, you're into this. Well, at 2 seats down, we're having a conversation about the same thing. So like, why don't we like go join them and like talk with them? And then I've seen so many people come back to our bar who weren't friends, and then like they're like, oh yeah, like now we're all running around together. We've been, same thing you were saying earlier about how time moves in VRChat. Um, they'll come one day, 2 days later they're like, yeah, that the people you introduced me around. I've been running around in VRChat with them all night. We went and explored worlds. We went and did this, and it's that's a warm feeling I get. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. I'm glad you guys are having fun and stuff. And it's the bar feels so much more like interpersonal than a rave or a club.
Mm. So it kind of feels like what a real bar would feel like, kind of deal, at least, but
Yeah,
virtual.
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's really important to do. And that's why like I thought Sullivan's idea was so cool at first, where like he wanted this like premium thing where it was gonna be more like a hush hush, like the elite come in. But I liked a little bit of chaos. I liked the chaos of like
Mm.
everyone running around having fun. And then that's just I feel like we were able to, capture that so well with like, Tech here doing security was had this great knack of finding someone who's like a good troll, someone who's like gonna come up and like tease you a little bit and like get a laugh out of it, instead
Mm.
of the person who's just gonna come up and like attack you. So,
Okay. Cool. So how would you normally deal with trolls when they come through here and the people who want to cause chaos for the moment they enter the lobby mask?
um, myself, I try to de-escalate it, and like some of them they're just looking for attention. But if you talk to a few of them, they'll actually just teeter off and stop. But I'll actually pass that one to Tech, because Tech handled that the most more than I have. So.
Yeah, a lot of it honestly is what she says. It's de-escalation patterns. I have a large history in customer support, so a lot of it is just kind of listening in on like what they're really here for, they're trying to accomplish. Because I have like a made up like 10% rule of like if there's an instance and then we have like 40 people in it, like 10% can be like a mild troll, because there's always going to be like a couple of like people wearing like a funnier meme or something like that avatar, but that doesn't mean necessarily you write them off right away. It's engaging in that first conversation to be like, okay, like what is the real intent here? Are you just trying to get a laugh, or are you actually going to be here to bother somebody? And you normally can tell that based upon like having that initial discussion, because people who generally just want to have a fun time, they will the security guard is the first person that they attack. Because if I can have that conversation stuff with them and just have a normal one, it catches them off guard because they think that they're just going to be able to get right in. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 hold on, wait. What are you doing here? What's your business here tonight? And that helped get our that helped create our vibe a lot, which is having that initial conversation. I feel like some people are a little too quick to write off somebody, especially like because we know people that used to just be trolls in VR, and just having that conversation of just like a hey friend, like this at the third, or even just learning to playfully banter back. They're like, oh, so these aren't just people online that are going to be, you know, just jump at me the first thing. That's what they want, is that initial jump. But if I'm not giving that to them, they'll either leave or they'll like, okay, well, this place is kind of different. Let me go sit down and see what they want. And it's curbed a lot of our problems, which is why, like, on a given night, unless it's like an inherent threat to crashing, we pretty much don't do a lot of kicks.
Okay. Oh, so it sounds like the bar atmosphere you build is very important to you. What kind of vibe are you looking for the people who come in to feel, and how do you maintain that?
So the feel I want people to go for is like, because again, like we were talking about earlier, I used to go around to a lot of DJ events, club raves, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't really, I really didn't do midnight bar before here sunset, and I didn't even do bar Heian really too much. But when I got here, I started to enjoy the like the vibe of certain other bars, and so when we got into ours, I like wanted to figure out what that was. The Golden Grain, they wanted to be that nice formal. Like, I mean, I was in a suit and tie at one point because the owner wanted, Sullivan wanted us to be formal. He wanted all the bartenders to have like a nice like get up and all that stuff on their avatars. But then when we, made our own group, I was like, no, I want us to be silly. I want it to like have that chaos of being, VR chat, but I also wanted to like be this home for, hey, you just got off your 9 to 5, oh, you're 10 drinks in, oh, you're feeling a little silly today, like you're whatever you're feeling, you can come here and express that, and like we'll do our best to help you, like, you know cultivate that feeling, whether it's finding you someone to talk to, putting you up on stage, you want to sing and do something silly. We used to have a guy, one of our friends, Blue Tonic. He'd always go up on stage and start singing Adam Sandler songs from like his from his movies. And so we'd have silly things like that. We'd have days where people do actually more like serious karaoke, but and others we have silly. We do trivia, so we'd have those kind of things going, and people would seem to enjoy that, like brain teaser, because Tech here is a trivia wizard, and I don't know where he finds all these questions, but he gets the ones that tickle your brain. Um, and then it's just it's finding what the people want and feeling out the vibe of who you have in the instance a little bit as well. So if people want that more serious vibe, then they just want to sit and
for it.
yeah, the people, you can tell because some people like to sit at the bar and just talk. They don't want to be bothered. But then other people, they want you acting up, acting a fool on stage and doing something for like, entertainment. So you've got to feel the energy.
I'll say,
So,
I think a large part of it is like we have a buddy, Hey Zexy, he's a comedian. He kind of goes around VRChat, and I think a lot of it is our just love for comedy. Like all of us, we love to just sit in Discord and crack jokes. I think a part of it is we kind of put that comedy into almost everything that we do. We do run a serious ship, and we do like have strict rules and guidelines. But everything that we do, we kind of do as like a punchline. Somebody wanted a dancer for their birthday. They were Kermit dancers. They're not going to be, any suggestive dancers. Every time we had a trivia night, almost every staff member was wearing some sort of meme related to that trivia, or like a funny version of an avatar that was related to that trivia that night. And so I think because we put the center of it, not running it like a serious bar, but running it as one, as an event, and two, a fun event. Because I feel like you need to meet, like, if you consider like a bar, if you ran it like a business, the goal is you want to give people what they want, not what you think that they want, and people just want to have a fun, good time. So that was always our best foot forward. If we took it too serious, we would dial it back and realize, okay, we're taking it a little too serious. We need to make it fun, because if it's not fun for us, it's like, especially when we were running like originally 3 nights a week, it became a lot. So if it's not fun, it's like it's not worth doing. So we always try to put that fun aspect in the middle of it.
Oh, okay. So I've got a question for you as well. What were the earlier days of the Sundrop and Parmesan like, and how have they changed over the course of the life of the group?
So, the earlier days, we actually just were talking about this not too long ago. The earlier days, we were definitely a lot more active. We've had to unfortunately dial it back a little bit, and that only being mostly because, unfortunately, a lot of our staff members, myself, and Tech here, our IRL took a massive turn. Like when I first moved over to here, I was unemployed, so I was pretty much on this game a good bit. So we were running our silly events, we were doing that kind of stuff. But then I got a job as I do in-home healthcare for like mentally and physically disabled people, and that takes a lot of my time away now, and I have to be pretty much on call if no one can't show up or anything like that. So that kind of stunts the ability for us to be open as much as we used to be, but we still try and we still do events. I think when we first opened up though, we wanted to do that silly vibe. We wanted to we were doing it. We were doing the silly vibe. We were hanging out. We were doing games, and we did karaoke some nights. We'd focus on doing drinking games the next, and then we'd have a comedy set thrown in there. We'd have just we did a bunch of different things. We
A
kept
lot.
changing to keep it fresh. And then eventually like I really wanted to get into the club scene 'cause I love music. I DJ and for myself. I've gotten around to a few events here. Like I've done the Spooky Ghost for the
Synapses.
the Synapse and Black Cat event. I've got the DJ for them and a few other groups I've DJ'd for. And I also will just randomly go around Sunset and DJ. Um, and a few of the bars have been nice enough to let me go up and do that. So, but we wanted to get into the DJ scene and all that kind of stuff, so we started to branch out and go to those kind of worlds. But we also still liked coming to the bar. Um, and I think that's like where we find ourselves now. We're still gonna try and come back to the bar because this is kind of where we were made from, and it's still always a vibe to get to just sit and talk to people and chat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the flow of VRChat never stops, so there's always hopping around the different worlds and stuff like that because everyone always wants a different change of pace. But
Yeah. Part of it's evolving, like I said, cheese. We did have the early sleep vibe. We've done like the DJ rave scene. I personally have been a little, I wouldn't say burnt by it, but I'd say it's not the vibe that like we were hoping to capture. And so like that was kind of like, again, like learning where your fit is. I always feel like that a lot of groups tend to do way too much, and when they do so much, that's what causes burnout. So like we had a conversation of like, okay, this is working, but it's not working in the way that we want it to. So like let's go back to like, let's figure that out. And that's what we've always been, which is why we evolved from like, we were from Parm to Sundrop, to just kind of always keep up and figure out what the next thing was. We like the name that we settled on. We like the vibe that we've cultivated. So like as we go forward, when we shifting, we still do our DJ stuff, but we're going more back to the bar because it's just, again, evolution, figuring out what works for us. Because sometimes like, doing the same thing doesn't always work. And trying to change it up, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And yeah, I think we're heading in the right direction, that what we feel like rounds out the group proper and what gets people to like it.
Oh. So another question I have for you guys is, what keeps you wanting to run your group out of Sunset, the world? versus like trying to commission your own? What
Do
keeps you
you want me
coming
to
back
answer
to
that
it?
one, or you got that one first?
I'll answer it. So
Okay.
when I first came in Sunset, again, this world kind of, opened me up to like what's all out there in VR chat. Because I met Sullivan, then I met shortly I mean Sullivan, I met Lingie and Rennie, and I even lived with them for a short brief period of time, which is really cool. So I poured a lot of my time into this world, and I just enjoy being here because of the. I think it's a little bit because of the memories. I really do think it's a little bit of the nostalgia of like, oh, I was here for a while. Um, but we've thought about making our own world. We've really thrown it around, but I kind of like going to different worlds because I like to think of Sundrop as this thing I can pick up and like carry the party somewhere else and drop it. Much like along with like the things I like to do with the bar scenes, DJ scenes, and all that stuff. Something I've been trying to push in the group a little bit more is like, hey, everyone, there's this other group. Let's use the Synapse for reference. The Synapse
About
Angels are
having
having a DJ event. Why don't we all get together and go raid their event and just hang out there and like just essentially picking the party up and taking it where we want it. And and that I feel like some people have had fun with that because again, it's the people you're hanging out with that's the experience, and that doesn't mean we always have to be the host. And on top of that, it shows other people what is out there. Because like I'll take people to Strange Pair, I'll take people to Savvy's Next Up, I'll take people to the Synapse DJ events, and all the plethora of clubs and DJs I'm a part of. The art bar with Panda, all that kind of stuff. And then especially when PJKT did their thing, and we had our booth there. Another thing we did was we got the whole gang together and we went and viewed all of PJKT, looked at every single booth and all that stuff. So
I can't tell you how many groups I've led to. I'm a huge theme park enthusiast. I will grab 7 or 8 people and let's go to different theme park worlds, explore every single one. I've ridden a lot of VR rides, so that's the one thing. Like, if we're able to, like, that was always my passion. It's like I love like theme park technology stuff like that. But for other people, it's like we can go hop and go find different worlds that people like, and we'll take normally a chunk of us with us. But yeah, Sunset's always kind of been our home. I like a lot of the features that it does from like a business perspective. You're able to manage a vibe so well here that no other world can do. As someone who does like our security most of the time, you're able to lock out certain areas to force conversation flows. Because my big problem with a lot of places is everything is too spread out. And I understand there's so for some people there's a performance thing, but if you can set like this place how it has certain locks to certain zones, and you can set that just in the correct way, and we have a good flow for it, you really keep that party vibe that like it feels much bigger than it may only be like 20. I still think 20 people is a lot of people. Some people, oh, my instance only has 20 people. I'm like, have you seen a house party with 20 people? That's a pretty big house party. I used to run apartment parties with 20 people, and I felt like it was way too much. So you're able to cultivate that big vibe here, and I think that's what makes it really work in this place. And it's really hard to do that elsewhere, because elsewhere, and this is not to the fault of anybody, they're nice, grand, extraordinary worlds, but that's not the vibe that we want. We want people together. We want the social activity. We want all to have fun together. And this world really helps keep that vibe.
Oh, well, got a question?
I want to say, you said you like theme parks. Well, I want to invite you to something very, very cool. For those of you watching the podcast, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe, possibly, not guaranteed. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm just saying, maybe, possibly, we might have a popular JP group coming soon that may talk about something really cool related to maybe potentially something like a theme park, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you know, you know. You'll see it later. Potentially, you know what I'm talking about. They may not, but hey, I'm just saying.
So, what have been some of your favorite memories or events that you've run through your group?
Oh, okay. I gotta sit back in my chair for this one. So, some of my favorite memories of Sundrop and the Parmesan. One is not my birthday that just passed, but last year's birthday. Just coming in here and we just had a blast. We um we were all I was talking. I remember sitting in that booth over there. I sat there like for about 40 minutes, and everyone was just coming over and talking and like trying to have this good vibe. Tech here had some plans and threw me up on stage, much like the thing of like, oh, we're gonna get our buddy a lap dance, ha ha ha, hee ha. But then I go up there, I turn around, and he's like, all right, you can look forward now, and I've got Kermit. I've got a cockroach. I've got all these different wacky avatars who are like getting ready to give me a dance, and I'm just like, oh my god, what is happening to me? And then, funny enough, on that day of my birthday, we had a few people come in and were like, "Oh, it's also my birthday," and to this day, still message that person every November 2nd. I'm like, "Hey man, happy birthday!" Like, we may not hang out all the time in VRChat, but we met in Sunset by doing the whole like, "Hey, age and date of birth, November 2nd." Oh, that's my birthday, and now we still message each other. But then, it would be wrong. That was one of my favorite memories, but it'd be wrong of me not to mention what kind of gave me my little moment of fame, I guess, here around Sunset, which would be Valentine's Day last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a interesting day that will always live for me. Um, so Valentine's Day, Lingie and Rennie had the idea of running two separate instances, one for couples and one for singles. I was single at the time, so I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the singles." So I go there, and before the night starts, I remember I asked my little brother. He was in college at the time. I was like, "Hey, man, what can I drink that will do the job and is cheap?" And he's like, "Oh, go get a Four Loko." For anyone watching, do not drink Four Locos. They're absolute garbage, but they will get the job done. But they're absolute garbage. So I drank two Four Locos that night. I had someone follow me around with a camera because I don't remember a single thing that happened that night. All I remember was right here in this back alley. I unfortunately had a very small back room or very small room at the time. I walked with my headset, went and used the restroom. May have accidentally forgot to mute my mic, so everyone teases me about that still. Um, I was I was a mess, but everyone said I was the life of the party. I kept teasing people. I kept grabbing the manager mic and I'd say some silly stuff over the mic, and everyone just had a good time. And I mean, you were around for then.
Yeah, I was just starting out. I was just starting out at the grain at the time. Like I just got hired on to do a security door when that event happened, and I showed up because it was like, oh, it's a DCN event. I should show up for this. And that was a lot of fun. That was a very chaotic night because you could like hopping between both places. It was pretty funny too. But for the group, our group, I think honestly, I think my favorite event was the Star Wars rave, May the 4th.
Yeah, that
Like I had
was a
such a
really fun one.
blast trying to set up May the 4th, getting DJs together, uh getting the vibe that I wanted, getting the people up there that I wanted. I had a few friends that one of the DJ got to DJ did really good for like our first like rave event. It was just a lot of fun setting that up. That was like a good memory. I don't know what world it was we went to, but that world was pretty cool. Lots of light effects. That one was really good, and and the countless trivia nights that we had. Um, every time I'd always wear a different Avi, and to your point, I'd always come up with the most like 7 like medium and then like 3 like ultra hard questions that I'm so surprised some people answered. But to see people like struggle and have a good time over that, it got super competitive towards like when we were in the end towards the end of that cycle because everyone was competing for a spot on the wall. That was like what you did, your team. Like we'd go into DCN and upload the photo. So the next week you'd come in and you'd see your team on the wall, and that was the team you had to beat. So that was fun to get people riled up over
Yeah,
doing
for sure.
trivia.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. That was a big thing, and like I said, enjoying it. You get to watch people do that, and then The other favorite memory I have of the group. Um, what was it? It was with our buddy Stupid Me. He used to be one of our owners, but life gets complicated sometimes. He had to take a step back. Um, I don't know. This will always stay in my memory.
the little people
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Where they all
He
shrink their
started
abbies.
this trend. He started this trend where he would shrink down to the smallest size possible, and he'd stand on the bar counter and he'd say, "I want my bath," and we would give him a hot chocolate, and he'd sit in the hot chocolate. And then it started with him doing it, and then I like walk away to like go take care of some stuff in the world. I come back like 5, 10 minutes later, and there's like now 10 people on the bar counter just sitting in these hot chocolates, just all talking to each other, and I'm like, what is going on? And that was just like such a
was a
cool
good one.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like one of those like fun, wholesome moments. I'm like, oh, look at it! Like, oh, look at everyone's little miniature avatar just chilling there. So yeah, the other things, the countless after parties we had of karaoke with everyone. Those
Yeah.
are fun.
Those were a lot of fun. Yeah, the after parties are always fun. I mean, it's because then it gives the staff a chance to just kind of chill. That's when I would abduct people and take them to theme parks too. Was after.
Yeah.
Oh, so question: how do you make running a bar group like this with your staff? How do you make it so the staff also enjoys themselves while they're here, instead of feeling like they're going from one job into another job? Hello, friend. I hope you're enjoying the current video. We'd actually like to inform you that we do some other shows and content as well. We have a whole bunch of interviews from the Metaverse Degen podcast, which you can find over in the main YouTube channel or on Spotify. We also do a D&D actual play called Hold My L, which you can find on the same Metaverse Degen network channel as well as Spotify under Hold My L. If you're interested in either of those things, we create other shows and plan on making more in the future. If you want to check out our social media to find out when those new shows or other stuff we're doing is, feel free to go to metaversedegen.card.co. We have all of those links for you to watch. And we also have a Patreon over there as well, where we have been posting the pre-show content for Hold My L. So whenever like conversation or talk about things, maybe lore or whatever's going on, we post that over there as well. As well as we every once in a while pull stuff back from the vault from episodes long gone that are no longer on the channel. We'll post them every once in a while over there. Like for example, we have the old one where the first ever episode we pulled the Raptor on. But we'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to those who have supported us over at Patreon, such as Exotrix, Frozen, Aliquum, Future Oracle, and Forbidden Zero. Thank you all so much. You're amazing, and enjoy the rest of your video.
So a big thing I push on people, and some can do more than others, is don't treat it like a job. Just honestly sit behind the bar and just talk to people. Have fun. Dish a drink out or two, and crack a joke with it. Or ask people how their days are going, stuff, that kind of thing. But I always try to say like, hey, if you're feeling burnt out, don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, enjoy yourself inside the bar. Like, I'll bite the bullet and I'll go bartend, or Tech has even bartended before, and I'll be like, I'd rather I do that so that you guys can have fun. Because it's not, for us not having enough staff, that's not their fault. That's, arguably one of our faults for not getting enough people. But I'd rather, they have fun, because I have fun behind the bar, getting to talk to all the people, getting to see different, lifestyles, getting to see all this stuff. And that just brings me joy, because it's just being social, which I truly enjoy. And there is some people who like to do the staff work, and others do get burnt out a little faster. So I just try to always tell them, this is not real life. It's not a job. You're not getting paid for this. You might get a tip every now and then, but do not be like making that your sole responsibility. This is not a real job. Have fun with it. Be silly.
I think
Get behind the.
I think part of it is we try to run purposeful events. I think a lot of bars, it's kind of like streaming nowadays. I think with streaming, if you stream too much, you kind of don't get as much value out as running one purposeful stream. So like that's what we found was the best way to cultivate less burnout, was running an event that was like, okay, it's from this time to this time only, which is what you would expect from like a raid, but we do it for like a bar night. And then what we would do a lot of the times is have event, or there's like a break period. And so you'd see this like seamless flow for the night, and then we'd end it. Cheese would normally sing Country Roads,
Country
and then we'd
Roads.
close out the night. Yeah, then we'd close out the night. And so I feel like that allows also for one, a more memorable night, and then two, it also allows for the staff to feel like there's always going, like they also have an idea of when it's going to end, and so they need to come to us. We also can be like, well, like we can also, it helps us manage slots because we know who's going on when, and then how to rotate those people around. Sometimes that's what it is, and like the cheese says, it's biting the bullet. I will say I've gone to a lot of places, I've gone to a lot of bars where I don't see the owner always stepping up. I'm pretty sure that they do, but a lot of times you get into this mode where it's like, if you have enough people, well, why do I need to do it? I still feel like as a bar owner, you need to be up front. You need to be a face of it. You need to talk to your people, talk to your staff, and not have like the assistant staff bar person who is the assistant to somebody else run the things. I feel like sometimes you got to get out there and get in there. No matter if your group is 10 people or if it's 10,000 people, you still got to show up. You still got to be a face of it. And you got to have those times to where you can leave because people are going to burn out. And honestly, I feel like it does help out a lot. And also it makes you, like Cheese says, you interact with a lot more people that way. Because a lot of times I'll go to a bar, I don't even know who runs it, and everyone talks about them, but I don't see them. But like Cheese and I are almost always on the floor every time we run, because we want people to know like they're staff. But if you really need to talk to somebody, you can talk to one of us, and like we try to be as approachable as possible to resolve any issues.
Oh, well, thank you very much for explaining that. I'm glad I actually learned to hear from that. So, another question I have for you guys as well is, throughout your time running the bar, have you ever had any interesting people come through that you've remembered? May have stayed, they may have left. Anyone that kind of sticks to mind?
Yeah, like I said, I think it was Gig. Is her name Gigas? We always have an occasional, like every like once a month, we'd always have like Genghis. Her name is Genghis VR. She came through, like she's come through once or twice. We always will have like a VTuber or someone that has some sort of a following will come through. Like Savvy is always.
Oh.
I'll take over. So sorry about that. I'm sure he'll be back once he
all
gets
good.
internet.
Oh,
So yeah, like he was saying, we have a lot of interesting characters that come through. So once upon a time, you came through, and I was like, oh, that's Lion Turd. He's got his own podcast. We've had Rackshaw show up, the owner of the drinking night. We've had I think the one that was kind of like, ooh, is I don't know if you guys read webtoons at all, but it's the one with the green-haired alien girl comes down to Earth and she knows nothing, but they end up a guy ends up taking care of her. I met the author of it here in
Oh,
VR
wow.
chat, and I was like, holy, that's like so cool. So we saw them. We've had we've had Lingie and Rini here, but I don't really count them because I worked with them and I've lived with them. But
It still draws people when they come up. Yeah, they're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Lingy Ringy. I'm like, oh yeah. I've talked to them like once a week. I'm like, for some people that's like that's a big deal, like that's a huge deal for them.
But outside of like the VR chat celebrities, I've had a few people come through here who their life stories just stick with me. And we had a guy come through. Oh, what was his name? Kando and something. I don't know why. Dude knew nothing about VR chat. Literally bought a headset, slapped it on, came here. We were his very first encounter.
Oh, wow.
And now every so often I'll bump into him and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm still having fun." Same thing with that guy that I told you I share a birthday with. I first met him. He came in. He's like, "What is this place?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a bar. Da, da, da. We do this. We're having like a trivia this night." And he's like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." I did the whole age and date of birth, and we were like, "Oh, we share a birthday." So I came inside the bartend, and I'm talking to him, and he's just in this little Kermit, and we just started chatting, and then he started coming back every so often, and like it was just like this little update constantly of like, hey man, I got my own avatar, or hey man, I got full body, hey man, I got a better PC now. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad to like see your life like progressing, such a good thing to see. And so like those interactions, I enjoy a ton, along with getting to meet the celebrities of VR chat, if you want to call it that.
Oh, I know who I can wait. I do have one big story.
Huh.
You know my story. There was this guy, he was throwing tomatoes at our bar, and I decided, or somebody jailed him. Somebody jailed this dude. I go up to him, and he's like, "Why'd you get jailed?" I'm like, "Well, dude, you're out here." He's like, "Like you're messing with people." He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "You can't be heckling people, boss, right?" I didn't think anything of it. And then he comes back. I'm like, "You're cool." Comes back out, keeps doing it. We're gonna have to kick him. We can't be throwing tomatoes at the performers, trying to cause a ruckus. I didn't think anything of this interaction till a month later. A friend sends me a YouTube video. Proximity chat goes to bars. This is when he was first starting, and that's the Deku in that video that tells him to quit heckling is me. That was the first time I ever ran into him. So, and that was like one of his first like big videos at the time. But it's always a funny interaction because like I'm pretty sure we've encountered like that whole rotation of that YouTuber circle that's come in here before. That one was pretty good. Like I saw Genghis one time. I thought was really cool because I've seen a lot of her VR content on Instagram, and so when she walked in, I was like, "What?" I thought cheese, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" She's like, "Who?" I'm like, "Dude," and I sent you her content, and I was like, kind of crazy too. And then you meet like people like you said, like some other folks, like Piano Dude. This guy just comes in here with a cat
Piano
and
Man.
plays the piano. Yeah, piano. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had Piano Man in here before playing music for the guests. Which if you don't know anything, look him up on YouTube. Homie he loves to go around bars or public instances, and he'll just reply to people through piano keys, and then they'll put in requests, and he plays the request for them. Super nice dude. Won't actually talk at all. Only plays piano. Funny little bit. I love it. But yeah, that was another one of those like encounters where we like, oh, that was sick.
I'm trying to think of the other. We also had like I don't know if their group was like the Not Beatles or some. It was a play on the word Beatles, but they've come in twice, and it was like a bunch of guys wearing like the whole Beatles of different Abbeys, and they would just go to bars and just play Beatles music through their mics. But that's what they did, and they try to like pretend to be them. That was always fun. That was always a fun bit.
Oh, all right. So another question I was, where did the name Sundrop come from?
Us throwing names at each other for 3 days.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we got on this whole, we originate from Sunset. So we were kind of on this sun kick, and like we were trying to think of like lunar, solar, all this stuff, and something cosmic. But then we were also getting into the music. That was right where we were getting into like the club music and all that kind of stuff. So and I wanted to move away from the name Parmesan Palace because everyone always came in and was like, "Oh, this is Cheese's bar. Cheese, cheese, cheese. Cheese is the owner." And I was like, "Well, my buddy Tech here and Stupid also hold enough power, same as me. They're also, key figures." So I wanted to pull it away from me a little bit, and I wanted it to be us. So that's why we came up with the name change to Sundrop, and it came from a little bit from Sunset, and then the drop part is meant to be like a beat drop, and then we are one of our wonderful friends, Mino, did all of the artwork for us, and we've loved it since. We love the color scheme, and yeah, I mean it took us like 3 days of throwing names at each other
Yeah,
constantly.
it was like
our DMs
that
are
was
just
Cat the Bottle.
randomly bam name.
Yeah, and nothing to do with the soda. That was completely coincidental. I didn't even know Sundrop with the soda till like 4 months later. Someone came up to me like, "Oh yeah, like the soda." I'm like, "The what?"
Yeah. So that's made an unfortunate stop for us because we wanted to like kind of make like little silly merch for our group, like a T-shirt and stuff. And then so we looked into it. We don't want to get in trouble with Pepsi, so we were just like, we'll stay away from that. And we thought about doing a name change, but in reality, I'm like, no, let's keep the Sundrop name. It will stay in VRChat. It will be our little like fun thing, and you know, Tech here has ambitions to do some stuff, and he's taken his experience he's gotten from working with me here at Sundrop, and he's gonna start working on another project in the future. But
Yeah, that'll be more like hybrid activations and stuff like that. I do a lot of event planning and outside of the game. So I'm taking a lot of what I learned from Cheese and trying to hybridize the two. It's still like in early stages. Originally, we are going to do it under Sundrop, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a good fit for Sundrop. Sundrop, we still want to do Sundrop as a thing. I still help out with Cheese. I still help run the things, but that's always been like, that's his stuff. My stuff will be almost a completely different, like we'll be working in partnership with each other with the two different groups. But my catered audience is more of a bridge of the two instead of like where Cheese is more catering to the ecosystem. I'm catering more to connecting the two between the real world
connect
stuff
VR
and the VR.
IRL.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's pretty cool. May I inquire on that a little bit? How do you think it'll be easy bridging the two, real life and VR, with like being the bridge between the?
So I actually, this actually kind of all started a while ago to a soon returning. I had mentioned earlier, hey Zexy, the comedian, and I, we've met up and we've become really good friends. We live in the same state. We were working on a podcast that we were going to do, and life just kind of happened. And because of that, it didn't really get off the cutting room floor. We recorded a few episodes, just never took off. We're going to be relaunching it later under my project as a live show instead of a pre-recorded podcast. It just makes more sense for how he and I interact. We don't really do. I don't think we flow, or I don't flow as well in that type of setting that we were kind of recording in. So that will be part of that project. But it came to interacting with like the Strange Pair and Failed to Render. And I can't think off the top of my head who else we recorded with, but we talked to 3 separate groups and we had different interviews. And each of those groups, they had a real life component and a VR component. I mean, Howie Mandel has been on, Failed to Render. So like it has its impact in the real world. And so that's what we're kind of looking at. I know that there's a few out there, and there's a lot of challenge to it, but I've been speaking to a lot of groups that have been around my area. A lot of them started as brands that people met up for a common interest, and then they were able to evolve into like a rave scene or a car brand scene. And so I've actually got to know some of the people in the area, and I said, well, do you think VRChat could work with this? They're like, I don't see why not. We were just talking about anime and cars, and now we have like a rave group that makes a good money, and I do this full time. I said, okay. And I'm like, I'm not in the business to like have a new career, but it's something that I enjoy. And if I'm able to pull my friends into an event in the real world and we can run something, that would be really cool to have the means to do that. So a lot of it's going to start off as informational activations, kind of exposing people to VR. I'm very big on tech. I'm looking at some like going around to the con scene that's huge here in Texas and just getting to know people. Because my first interaction in VR in Texas, I actually forgot to mention this, was a booth at a convention that was projecting, I don't know which club, I can't even tell you, but it was a little box. You could talk to somebody that was in
VRDDR. It was a dance one. It was one of the dance clubs.
Okay. It's been a long time. I think I'm going to send you the photo. Yeah, it had a little box. You could speak to somebody in VR, and then they had this projection mapped on the wall of like the club at the time. And I was like blown away. I was like, this is so cool. Why aren't more people doing this? And with the advent of VTubing being very popular now at conventions, I felt like that's kind of gauged the space to where it's like these interactions can happen more. And so we want to go do an informational stage and see how it goes, and then we'll go from there to actually hosting some of the events. I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like a far-fetched stream would just be having a screen up and just having someone DJ in VR with either projection mapping or high resolution LEDs to give that 3D effect, and then having people be able to DJ from halfway across the world, but to a real audience there in person. That's like long shot dream. That's like, but we got to start somewhere. So right now it's just informational activations and building a community under this brand. And we'll go from there. And I'm having Cheese, partner with me on some of the more like networking, and that's what he's really good at, is talking to people. And I love that.
Yeah, so like one of the things about Sundrop is and I don't think this is too much of a problem, but we don't have a whole lot of retention in the group because it comes with the whole property of me saying like, oh, let me show you all the other cool things there are in VRChat. So I take people to like those open mics, those comedy clubs, those art galleries, and they end up moving on to those places. And I'm like, I'm not hurt by that because they'll come back and check in on us from time to time, but like I tend to push people out into the world of VRChat, and it's kind of like us being here in the publics, we're sifting through all those public users, and we'll find those ones who are more, I don't want to say serious, but more interested in the deeper like connections of VRChat instead of the ones who are just here to troll and then get off and go do what they want to do. So that's kind of the thing about the Sundrop does, is like I'd say it's like kind of a side thing I do with Sundrop. So and I enjoy getting to get around and connect. Like I got to walk around with you guys at VCAT and all that stuff, and then we did a project, and just getting to meet all these other cool people. I enjoy that networking, and that's why I love to drag people with me to go to all the cool things they do. And tech here wants to like be one of those things, and I push more to drag people out to show them the other cool things. And I don't think that's anything that like I don't think that's anything bad. It's just, he wants to build the retention. I'm looking more to like help people find what's out there. So that's why we think it's better we both just kind of work hand in hand. So
no, she's his point, and I still like what we do at Sundrop. So, oh, Jesus got that.
yeah, go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So the thing that I liked about what we do here at Sundrop is, again, it's kind of it's more like community where you can stop in. I almost say it's almost like a hostel. You can stop in, you can rest, you can figure out where you need to go, and then you go. And then we always get people coming back. But I think that's always been something that we're not a big numbers game chaser. I don't need a group of like 15,000 people that are just like the numbers for the numbers. I'd rather have like a full instance than us having a grand old time with like just a bunch of random people we met and just having a huge blast instead of just a like I said, the numbers chasing. Because I think a lot of groups get in the numbers chases, and I think us not really being like huge on the number chasing has kind of helped that vibe too, because we're not trying to like, hey, join our group, join our Discord. It's like we push it every like, hey, check us out, like this is what we're doing. But like, and if you want to know where our events are, please join our group. But we're not like forcing you on. I've been to places where on entry, join the group. We're not about that. We're more about just like, hey, come inside, have a fun time. If we're having a good night, that's what like gives us energy, and that's what keeps us going.
I can understand that. It's kind of like with the content creator streaming. If you focus too much on the numbers and not so much on the enjoyment of what you're doing, it kind of loses its luster over time, I guess. This is a way to be, especially for those who are going to be entertained by what you're doing. Same thing with the groups or content. It's the same when you chase the numbers. It kind of shows sometimes. Unless you're really good at what you do.
I have a stick.
You have a stick. Well, so...
I can agree with you a lot because a lot. Unfortunately, with not I don't know about unfortunately, but like with me in tech, we have history here at Sunset in being part of the DCN staff. So a lot of people came to us about a lot of issues, anything that really happened here, And one of the biggest complaints always was like, oh, I couldn't get into this bar because they forced me to join their Discord, and if I didn't want to, I couldn't get in. And I was like, well, that's that group's prerogative. They can do that if they want to. Do I agree with it? No, because it shouldn't be about the numbers. I shouldn't have to force you to be in my group to boost my numbers, all that stuff, just for you to come in and have a good time. You're just here to enjoy yourself. So that's like the biggest thing, and that's what I want people to feel when they come in is just it's not an obligation. You don't have to join this, you don't have to do this. But if you're interested, you want to know what we have planning, join the Discord server. I appreciate it. But I'm not gonna sit there and hound you until you do it. But yeah.
Oh, so I'd like to ask the last couple of questions before we start wrapping this up. First of which is the names you have in VRChat, where they come from, why to use them.
So um mine funny enough comes from an ex. Um I had an ex-girlfriend who I lived with who, breakfast, lunch, and dinner was mac and cheese. So, yes, like I'd go to work, come home, make her mac and cheese for like lunch, then dinner she'd want more mac and cheese. So my friends would always tease me and like, say I'm like the mac and cheese this or that. And one like my first name was Soupy Mac because I accidentally when I pour the milk in a little bit, I accidentally poured too much in the one time and it was soupy and yeah. So every name I've had now for the past 12 years, 13 years has always been mac and cheese related. So that is where I get my cheese and mac name from. And then um so I always had like that attachment to oh it's kind of like it belongs to my ex, but also is kind of my friends teasing me. But unfortunately I wasn't part of that friend group anymore. That used to be, but then being here in VRChat and running the group and getting to meet all these friends, cheese has now become like like almost name, even to the point, funny enough, where I now live with my, VRChat partner in real life, and I've, started to grow a life with them. They still call me Cheese. They don't call me by my government name. And I went to work, and I'm very open about what I do in VRChat at work. I'll tell them, I'm like, hey, like one of my supervisors, they have a band where they travel around the bars, local bars. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Look what I do when I go home in my VR headset. And they now tease me sometimes, and they'll still call me Cheese at work and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh. So that's a funny little thing to me. Like Cheese has almost become my like second name now.
Cool.
But
Do
what
you
about
get
you, Ty?
confused when people ask you to pass the cheese? Do you pass yourself? Do you pass an actual block of cheese?
It gets a little shaky there sometimes, just earlier today, I was walking downstairs and my partner was talking to someone on the phone. They're like, "Yeah, I have a little too much cheese," and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "I'm talking about my food," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Mine was I originally had a different name from like an old account on here called Technico, which was a play on technical. But I didn't really feel like it fit my vibe. And this was before I was doing any of the VR bar stuff. And then I started doing it, and I'm like, well, this is not the name that I want because this is like an old name, like from years ago. And so before I really got invested in like the bar stuff, I was trying this like I had this really ambitious like SCP cryptid style Twitch live show that I was like I had all mapped out. And I had this whole thing. Never went anywhere. It's like on a Google Doc somewhere where I like listed like a bibliography of like the world, the lore, everything. But I still wanted to keep tech because everybody in this game called me tech off the Technico. And so I sat and I racked my brain for like hours trying to figure it out. And the cryptic part came from a play on the word cryptic because of cryptids, SCP, that stuff. And then Cypher was more of like the technology aspect. I love technology. And I really liked playing. It's a mix of like two really inspirations. It was in Valorant. I loved playing Cypher when the game first came out. I don't play it anymore, but I loved Cypher. And then back in my high school days, I used to be a part of this like I can't think of the name. Oh, it's a U.S. government program called Cyber Patriots, which is pretty much like a white hat hackers group for like teenagers that you could compete in unhacking machines. And we were all doing Matrix names, and my call sign was Cipher. So that's where the Cryptic Cipher came from, because I've used the name
Oh,
before, like eons ago.
oh, well, thank you both for sharing those stories. I always enjoy hearing why people decide to portray themselves online, at least in VR chat, the names, the avatar. So thank you for sharing yours. That's actually very unique, both of you. And the avatars you choose, where did they come from? Why'd you choose it? And is there anything about it that means anything to you?
So for me, I'll do me first. Mine, um, as you can all tell, I have a very masked voice, but I have a this game helped me explore myself a little bit, and I've always been a softer guy, so I wanted to go with a girl, and so I picked the base. I have a Ico head with a Mo body, and from Booth, and I put a bunch of different things on. I love tech wear, like that, like street tech wear kind of style. Um, and then I have the tattoos of the flowers because I really like them. And then I have nine tails on because I'm a huge Naruto nerd. And then the same thing with the whiskers on the face, all come from Naruto. So like I put little aspects of like what I like on here to my avatar. I've got tons of uploads of this avatar just in different outfits and everything. And it's kind of become like my online persona now. It's like this is who I am online, but again, I am who I am IRL. I haven't had like many different like changes like that, but I enjoy who I've created here with the help of my friends who help me do the Blender work because I'm so terrified of Blender. But I'll mess around in Unity all day, but I will not look at Blender. So, I nicknamed her between Aiko and Mo. I call her Mocha-san, and she's now become my online little like OC, I guess would be the right word. Um, what about for you there, Deku?
Yeah, Deku. Honestly, so I guess big thing, huge My Hero fan. But then they had this joke in my old friend group. When I mean old friend group, my friend group back home, because I moved states. My buddy would always yell at me like Midoriya boy, like anytime I do something, he would always, because my hair it gets all fluffy and basically pretty much like Deku's. And one of the things I liked about Deku is one, he's not afraid to be emotional, but he's also not afraid to care. But he's also like knows when to use his strength and when to be strategic. And I've always like loved the traits that he's given and how the character has evolved. And so when it came into VRChat, well, there are a lot of great male avies, in my opinion. I feel like that's like, I don't know if it's, I really don't get it, because in a world where like there's so many, I guess, game designers, maybe they're not really catering towards VR chat, but I'm just surprised at the lack of variety when it comes to some of the more custom ones. And so I've spoken to a couple artists. I just haven't hit that vibe that really embodies this like design. Um, Normally it's like the hands are a certain way, the face is a certain way. It just doesn't really embody me. It kind of gives to like an art style that I'm just not a huge fan of. I've always liked Horikoshi's line work, his big blockiness. So like I've loved those aspects of how he makes his characters. And so Deku was like just a natural fit. And then this particular one, it's just a different outfit. You know, it's kind of got like that streetwear with the glasses. And so I normally, yeah, I honestly have like 13 Dekus that all have different outfits. I don't have toggles. I just go between different avatars from different creators. Um, I'm still looking for a creator to like match my vibe, and then I'll invest into one. But for now, the Deku stays on. Yeah.
Oh, well, a good suggestion to you, as this I do the same thing you two do with your bar, is I'd actually heavily suggest going through Metafest's worlds. They have a whole bunch of avatars, and there are a bunch of male bases there as well. So you can go through the Metafest worlds and check out bases, and they have links so you can
Okay.
buy them in the world. So you can click it and go to Booth or Gumroad or Jinxie, wherever they have, and it's sold directly from the creator. It's not like some third party, whatever. So you can support a creator, and while looking at avatars, you can purchase and make your own. The bases.
Wow, that's something I'll have to look at. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just a
we'll have to
suggestion.
do that.
Oh, well. With that being said, if anyone in the audience wishes to find you, where do they go to find you?
So we have our socials in the group and everything here, in the Sundrop group. I do believe our thing is like SUNDRP, and then the numbers. I have to look at the numbers to get them. But we have the Discord server. We have a TikTok. We have yeah, and the TikTok I want to upload on there a little bit more. I probably am going to start doing that once I get my full body and I can like be more expressive. Right now I just kind of use it as like a photo dump of like all the photos I take from when we're at the bars and stuff like that, and make it into a collage so you can see all the shenanigans we get up to. I have a video of like do you mind? You don't have perms. I have a video of like our friend freestyling there. I have another video of like someone getting danced on there, and then I have a couple of our open mics. There's a video of we're on the little repo bots dancing on stage and someone singing Lady Gaga. It was Savvy's cousin, Pacific's. She was absolutely killing it, and yeah, just stuff like that, silly little things. So I'm probably gonna upload on the TikTok more as just silly little bits or things that happen inside the group that are fun, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the big one, and then hopefully with the little thing we touched on earlier, Tech here will have his stuff up in the near future, and you'll be able to find him.
Right now we just have an Instagram. Like I have a server that we're building, and I'm talking to a few people on some things, but it's just right now static_district. That's like my main handle right now. A lot of it's just under construction, but that's where you'd find me.
Oh, well, all of those links will be there for you, the audience member, to find. So you just go down the video description a bit, and then you will see all the links for the Sundrop and maybe Cryptics stuff if they're public.
It's already up. Yeah,
well,
it's already public.
We'll have that down there for you as well. If you're at Spotify, it'd be in the episode description as well. One easy place for you to find, same label as all the others. So you just go down there, click the thing, or copy paste it into a browser, and there you go. But this is the point where we'll ask you, the audience, a question and then close out. So the first question is, if you're old enough to drink, so that's the most important thing. Do you have any bar stories? We'd like to hear them. Write them all downstairs. That one time you were drinking with friends. They're always fun stories.
You should also write if you are a Wawa.
Yes, if you're a Wawa too. Because no bad story starts with the one time I had a drink.
Exactly. And that's the best part of it.
Yep.
Is all the stories.
And we'll close out with something that's very Raptor-esque. With that being said, never be afraid to explore your surroundings, whether VR or real life. You never know what kind of people you can meet, friends you'll find, partners you'll meet, any of the above, or cool experiences you'll find yourself in. So that being said, explore, go enjoy life. See you later, folks. See you in the Metaverse. Why'd you hit me?
Bye-bye.
I wonder if you can ride the train and go inside the fucking over there. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. How big that wall is.
It goes in there and goes around. Why? And it goes around.
Oh, it does. Holy shit.
Fuck yeah, it goes fucking around. I don't know where it goes. Like I said, I just got here. I don't know where everything is.
Huh.
I'm gonna have to check this place out.
Definitely, we're gonna have to.
There's another one. There's another one I gotta show you that It's called the. Yeah, hold on. Another one is called the Cozy Woods. That one's cool.
Oh, okay. We're definitely gonna have to check that out too. There's a bunch we're gonna have to check out.
Yeah, there's some new ones in.